Ready to wake up your taste buds? Well, Ricky P. from Roux is back in our kitchen to put a Creole spin on a Florida favorite. Ricky P., how's it going?
It is going so well. If I was any better, I'd be you.
Oh, listen to that. Well, I am doing pretty well, I'm not going to lie. Things are good. Things are good, especially when Roux's in the house. And we love when you are here, Ricky. And I like this. We're talking about a Florida favorite that is a new addition to the Roux menu.
It is. It is. It's like grouper is such a part of the Florida lifestyle. And we've been featuring grouper for a long time, but we haven't had a grouper sandwich. And so I'm very proud to announce that we now have added that to the menu.
Well, if I know anything about you and Roux, that means you got to also take it up a notch. And it's not just any old grouper sandwich. What makes your grouper sandwich stand out?
Well, there's a couple of things that I think are really important, and one of them is just like following the true technique of blackening a piece of fish, which is a little bit more. It's not real complicated, but what we do is we actually make our own sauce, our own buttery sauce to coat the fish with, so that when you add the seasoning to it, not only do you get the flavor of the seasoning, but you get that little something extra, that little layer of flavor that Roux is so famous for. So we've got all the ingredients here to help show how to make a sandwich, and especially with Memorial Day coming up, and outdoor cooking is such an important part of living in Florida. This is a great dish to cook outdoors, because when you put that fish in that pan, it puts a lot of smoke out, which is why we're not going to cook it in the studio today. But
our bosses are thankful, let me tell you.
Well, I've learned the hard way about that particular aspect of this. So it's already prepared, but we're going to go through the process real quickly of how to do that. So
what do we have?
Okay. Well, what we have here is a nice piece of grouper, and this is our buttery seasoning. So it's soft butter and olive oil and fresh parsley, a little bit of granulated garlic, a little bit of salt, and literally it's as simple as just pouring it on the fillet.
I can handle this so far.
And kind of stirring it around, and adding a little more to it. No, she's not. And then the blackening seasoning. Now, we make our own blackening seasoning, but you can get this type of seasoning at any of the grocery stores. It's, the guy who invented this recipe is the blackening concept is Paul Prudhomme, and he has a product out there. But the whole blackening.
Yeah, what is? I mean, I see it all the time. What is the premise of it? I love that you're explaining this a little bit.
Well, Paul is credited with being the architect behind Cajun cuisine.
Okay.
And this is not a traditional Cajun dish. My mom is a Cajun, and she said if she blackened anything, she threw it away, because that meant she burned it.
Oh.
But what Paul did was he took the redfish, which is a red drum, very popular here in Tampa Bay, and it wasn't a very popular fish for eating at the time, because it's a little bit oily, and it's got a little bit more of a fishy flavor. So he created this seasoning to kind of offset the fishy taste of it.
No
So
kidding.
it's basically salt, cayenne pepper.
And you don't hold back.
paprika.
I don't know if you're able to notice that. You are not holding back when it comes to the seasoning, which we just love.
And that's the whole thing too, is that you may think that this is overboard and the amount of seasoning that I'm putting on here.
But no.
But no, what you really want to do is you want to put it on so that when it hits the frying pan, and this is a traditional cast iron skillet, which is the best tool to use for this, because you want to get it so hot that the black part of the bottom turns almost ashy gray. And you don't want to put any oil in there other than the oil that's already on the fish, because what this will do is it'll caramelize the seasoning and create a crust. And that's really what you want. You don't want it to be soft. You want it to be crusty.
Now, just out of curiosity, though, if you make this on the grill, any tips for cooking it there?
Well, you can't really blackening on a grill because you can't get it that hot. But most of today's grills have a burner on the side.
Okay.
So that's what you turn the burner on, you put the frying pan on, you let it get to the point where you actually, with no oil in it, you'll see smoke rising from the pan.
Smoke is good in this case.
Smoke is good. And then you put that on, and it's going to sizzle, and you're going to get a column of smoke smoke that you thought a bomb went off. But it's that's part of the process, and don't worry.
Okay, because I would be worrying. I don't know if I want my husband doing that.
Well, it's called blackening for a reason. It actually looks like it's burnt, you know, but it's caramelized, and so it's crusty, and it's got all these flavors in it. And as you can see, it is very well seasoned, and you really, when the pan is that hot, maybe 2 minutes on each side, and it's done.
And it's done. And then you've got the fixings too, because we are getting ready to come to a close here.
Yep. So it's as simple as this. It's
I'll say he's all with the seasoning, the gloves.
You know, I like to put the buns on the grill and get the grill mark so that you have all of that. But then you just, and this is a little of our remoulade, which is basically a Cajun mayonnaise with good stuff in it.
You got to keep some secrets, right? So people go and visit, see what those ingredients are for yourself. Of course, at Roux.
And remoulade is you know, you can make red remoulade, you can make green remoulade, you can make yellow remoulade. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to do it. But it's basically a kicked up mayonnaise. In some ways almost like an Italian or a Thousand Island dressing.
So is it fair to say, Ricky P., that when you order something blackened, especially your blackened sandwich at Roux, it really is just a kicked up version? I like those. We're going to call it the kicked up version. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It's basically, it's the wow factor.
The wow factor. Well, you guys always bring the wow factor at Roux. Ricky P., thank you for bringing the wow factor here today on our show. There's all the information on your screen to go out and say hello to Ricky P. for yourself.